Hi everyone. So updates on the Sean Diddy Combs situation. Initially a lower magistrate had agreed with the prosecutors that P Diddy remains in jail and refused the bond. Remained asked that P Diddy remains in jail until the trial, which is most likely going to begin next year. But P Diddy's lawyer appealed that decision, and then a much more senior judge saturate and heard the defense and heard the prosecution's argument, and this was what was said. Now the PD's lawyer said, according to the report, this is from reading from BBC here, it says that Mr. Combs' lawyers were proposing a bill package that included a 50 million bond co-signed by Mr. Combs, his mother, and other family members, as well as home detention, surrender of his passport, weekly drug tests, and a visitor log that would be submitted through pre-trial services each night. But the judge hearing Wednesday's arguments did not agree to the proposal. The judge said, "My bigger concern deals with the danger of obstruction of justice and the danger of witness tampering." Judge Andrew Carter said, "That is a real concern that I have here." So based on this, those two, initially there were about, apart from the racketeering and the sex trafficking situation, there were about 6 different things that P. Diddy was accused of in that indictment: sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Now, because of that, and because P. Diddy allegedly has had a history of intimidating people and being very aggressive with people, the judge did not think that for the safety of future people who are going to pose as witnesses in the trial, which is likely to have to begin next year, for their safety and for safety concerns of the whole judiciary process and the safety concerns of the witnesses that are going to most likely participate in the trials, it is best that P. Diddy remains behind bars. Now, what history of witness tampering could there possibly be? There has been history of intimidation by P. Diddy. Remember the situation where Daily Mail, I think there was an exclusive reporting by Daily Mail about the whole Cassie breast surgery situation, and how that Diddy had taken her back to the doctor who did the surgery because he didn't like the size and wanted it to be reduced. And the doctor, I think Dr. Ryan, had said, you just cannot take someone who just left theater and take them back into the theater and do another surgery on the same person. And someone who was familiar with the incident alleges that while P. Diddy and the doctor were having a back and forth to try and come to a resolution, Cassie was in the doctor's office topless and was just weeping. And she looked like a doll, someone who had no agency over her own body. That doctor mysteriously passed a few moments later after that incident. Kim Porter also was allegedly writing a book, and when allegedly P. Diddy heard about that book, and that there were some transcripts of that book, that was the period that also Kim passed. There was another friend of Kim Porter's also who had written a book and had written a true life story, but she had changed the names of the characters in the story, but just to portray the life behind the scenes of hip hop. And one of the main characters was Puff Daddy Combs. That lady was also said to have passed after writing that book. And there's also been threats. Kim Porter's one of the guys who allegedly was interested in Kim Porter, who then P. Diddy went and threatened to blow up his car, and then a few moments later there was actually a situation where his car was blown up. And then the incident at the club where Jennifer Lopez was also involved, and there was shootouts, and led to some arrest, and Jennifer Lopez having to go to write statement reports and all of that. So there's been this aggressive use, that the intimidation and violence that has been attributed or associated with P Diddy in the past. So based on this past antecedent, the judge did not think that it was advisable or safe or wise of her, or of him or her, I don't know if she's a female or a male, advisable that he be allowed time at home, because he could still use his influences, he could still make some calls, he could still harass witnesses, he could still influence how the whole judiciary system, how the whole court process system plays out. And so the court decided that he was going to stay behind bars pending the time of the case next year. So it's a big one. We're going to see how it all plays out. I'll see you again on the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and leave me a comment what you think. Do you think that the court system was right in keeping him, or should they have allowed him to go home and stayed behind, maybe home arrest or whatever, and until the case next year? What do you think? I'll see you again next time.